I'm at my dad's house this week, and you know what that means. I get to steal his library card and go to his library to pick out some books. I always love being able to go to his library in particular because he lives in Dolly Partonville. And if you know anything about Dolly Parton, she's really big into literacy and reading, and so all of the libraries near where he lives have a really big and good selection of books, even though these are like little tiny shacks in the middle of nowhere. I feel like you look at the building and you just think, that's not going to be a very good library, and then you walk in and I always find just like the best options for books available. So I'm really excited to go and see what I'm going to pick up. I'm only going to be here for like 4 days, so we can't pick up much, but let's see what the library has in store for us this week. Joke's on you, actually. I'm recording these out of order. I already went to the library and I already know what books that I got. And let me tell you, I made mistakes. So, yeah. I got 8 books from the library, not including the book that I'm currently halfway through reading on my Kindle that I need to finish first before I read all of these books. But I thought we'd go through some of these books, just like a basic what it's about, and we can see how many of these I'm going to be reading in these next 4 days, because I don't think that I'm going to read all of them. Like, I don't believe in myself, but I can at least get a good chunk. So, first book that I picked up is Love Points to You by Alice Lynn. This is a new book. Like, it just got published really recently, and so I was super excited to be like, ooh, okay. Plus, it just also, the cover looks really cute. This is about an artist who is trying to get into this art college, but she doesn't have enough money. There is a mean girl classmate of hers who is creating an anime game, or like a romance simulation game, and the mean girl asks our main character, who's an artist, to do the art for the game. And that just sounds super cute and exciting. I love games, especially anime games. I love playing anime games. I tried to make my own once, but I'm not very artistic. So I'm really excited to see how this goes. I started it, my bookmark's in it, but I literally read the first sentence and then I had to go do other things. So I've gotten as far as Dusty Rose is a color I like to use when I paint. Excited to get into this a little bit more. The next book that we have is Off the Map by Trish Dollar. This one is about a girl who is in Dublin for her friend's wedding, and this guy who is a cartographer who picks her up from the airport, and their little drive around Ireland. Apparently there's going to be some shenanigans going on. It says, what should be a simple drive across Ireland quickly becomes complicated, with chemistry-filled detours, unexpected feelings, and a chance at love, if only they choose it. Sounded interesting. I've seen this the past 5 times I've been at the library, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up. We're going to try it at the very least. Another thing with all these books, too, is that the best way to support your local library, beyond like donating and things, is to just get books. Whether or not you read them, that's on your own time. But just checking out books helps the government see that the library is actually needed. So even if I don't read all 8 of these books, like, I'm still helping the library, right? That's a good reason to be doing it. A good, like, listen, I'm helping out, right? Anyway, the next book is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This is about a girl. There's like the barcode right where the summary starts, so I don't even know what this book is about. But from what I know, the main character is a writer on a TV show. The male love interest is also writing on the TV show. Like, they're both working together. And something happened in their past that, like, there was some sort of tragedy. The main character's family doesn't like him because he had a hand in it for some reason. It doesn't say what happened, just that there was a tragic accident and that her parents have never forgiven him. So I'm intrigued to know what that accident is and what's going on here. I picked it up solely because I'm a nosy little bitch and I want to know. Then we have The Geographer's Map to Romance by India Holton. This reminded me so much of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I keep wanting to say Map to the Other Lands, but that's the second book in the series. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, that just, I saw the cover and I was like, I need to pick this up. It gives the same idea in the summary as well. Our main character is a professor who is an expert in magical disasters. She has a co-worker who is also a professor and also, you know, good with magic. They're married for some reason, but like it's a marriage of convenience, so they don't actually have feelings for each other, you know? And there is some sort of magical disaster that happens in a small Welsh village, so they have to go and try to figure it out. It says they must come together as a team in the face of perilous conditions like explosions, domesticated goats, and only one bed. Ooh. I really love books like this that are about magic, but they're also very academic. That's what I'm really hoping for in this, is that we are really focused on the academia side of these professors. So, excited for this. It's probably the book I'm... Ooh. The book made that sound, I promise. It's probably the book that I am the most excited about. But we also grabbed Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I don't think I have to tell you what this book is about because it's so popular. I have read 2 Ali Hazelwood books, I think. I read The Love Hypothesis and I read Bride, and I really liked both of them, so I'm excited to get into more Ali Hazelwood books and see what everybody else thinks about like all the other books, you know? I just know that they're really popular. This one is about a theoretical physicist. They're all, by the way, if you haven't heard of Ali Hazelwood, she writes really like smart academia romances, basically, but they're also nerdy. Anyway, the main character is a theoretical physicist, but she also has a side job where she is a fake girlfriend for people. I just thought that was really interesting. I was like, say less. It doesn't even have to be by Ali Hazelwood. I just want to know about a theoretical physicist who's also a fake girlfriend on the side. But there is another experimental physicist. Oh, I guess she's a theoretical and he's an experimental physicist. I don't know anything about physics. But he like finds out that she has this job on the side to be people's fake girlfriends. And he keeps like staring at her. That's all I know. I'm excited though. Like I said, I've liked Ali Hazelwood before. People always say that her books are really good, so. Also this, I don't know if this is supposed to remind me of Tarzan, but the characters, for some reason, remind me of Tarzan. I don't know. I know she's big into Reylo. I'm not a Star Wars person, so. Next, I grabbed Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This is a book that I have been looking at for quite some time, and I've just never been able to pick it up. The last few times that I've been to this library, they didn't have it in stock. They had all the rest of the books in stock, but not book 1. So I saw all 4 books were there. They were out of order, and I was like, which one is the first one? This one, the blue one. Yippee. So I don't know too much about this, but the guy's name is Alex Volkov. That's it. That's all I know. The main male character is named Alex Volkov, and people go crazy for that. He has a tragedy in his past. I'm reading this for the first time, live on camera. He has a tragedy that was in his past. He's forced to look after his best friend's sister, like babysitting. I assume she's old enough for this book, because it says that he starts to feel something in his chest. It's probably heartburn. And then our main female character is named Ava Chen, who, okay, a childhood she can't remember. Interesting. Despite her broken past, she's never stopped seeing the beauty in the world. That's nice. Okay. Okay, so it's like a brother's best friend, but they both have trauma. But I don't know anything about like what that means. So interested solely because this is such a popular book, but I have no idea what it's about. So we'll see. To go back into our Ali Hazelwood discussion, I also got Check and Mate. This is the one that I am not 100% sure whether or not I'm going to enjoy. It is more of a YA book, and I haven't read a YA book from her before. Both The Love Hypothesis and Bride were more like new adult, so interested to see how she does with young adult, but this is about our main character who I'm not even going to read. I'm going to tell you exactly what it's about. Our main character over here does a chess match against this guy who's like really good at chess, and she wins. And like she's not supposed to win because he's really good at chess. And so she needs money for some reason. I can't remember why. College? Bills? Something? And so she wins money by doing all these chess things, and so she's trying to get better at chess, and he's like interested in her because she's good at chess. And he's like, only I'm supposed to be good at chess, I think. Or maybe he's just like, cool, I love chess, let's do chess together. I don't know. Like I said, not 100% sure whether or not I'm going to enjoy this, but I wanted to try it because it's Ali Hazelwood. The last book that I got, I'm trying to make this a little bit quick because my camera's about to die. I've been talking for too long. But the last book that I got is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing. If you've ever heard about that, it is basically the Hunger Games, but there's dragons. And when I read Fourth Wing, I liked it, but I was like, I just read too many Hunger Games inspired books. I enjoyed not The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, the one before it. That's the sequel. What's the first one? The Serpent and the Wings of Night. That's what it is. Which is Hunger Games, but they're vampires. And then, like, immediately after that, I read Fourth Wing. And so I enjoyed The Serpent and the Wings of Night a little bit more. I was like, I think I'm just going to put Fourth Wing down as a series because I like The Crowns of Nyaxia, The Serpent and the Wings of Night better. And then I recently read not only the sequel, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, but also the third book in the series, which I can't remember what the name is right now, and the side story that's like 7 Scorched Roses or something like that, both of which are on my channel if you want to see my thoughts and feelings on reading those. And I ended up not liking them. Just something about the series, I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. So I thought recently that I would go back to the Fourth Wing universe and see whether or not I like this. Also, there's something about it, by the way, sprayed edges, incredible. There's something about it that when I was reading The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, I was like, I really want to be reading Fourth Wing right now. Like, I kind of like those characters better. And so I'm excited to continue on. I've heard bad things about this book, that people don't really like it, but that it picked up again in the third book. But I gotta read the second book before I can read the third book. Also, my friend when I told her that I was enjoying the Crowns of Nyaxia series better than Fourth Wing, she's like, "You're wrong. You should be enjoying Fourth Wing." So, despite the fact that she's never read the Crowns of Nyaxia series, she's like, "Wrong. Fourth Wing." So, this is for her. Shout out to my friend Kyra if you're watching this. This one's for you. But that's all of the books. Like I said, I have 4 days to read all these. And I don't think that I'm going to, not including my Kindle book that I also need to finish reading. That's The Husky and His White Cat Shizune, Volume 5, which we're going to talk about at the beginning of this before we get into all of these books. Not confident that I'm going to be able to finish all of these, but we can at the very least see how far we're going to go. I'm going to do sort of a summary style in this video where rather than talking about all of my thoughts and feelings, because there's so many books here, I'm just going to talk about like big picture things. And we're going to focus solely on these books rather than my life around these books. I'm going to do a separate vlog where I talk about my week here. So if you want to see that, of course, it will come out sometime around this, either just before this video comes out or just after, but sometime near there. Anyway, I'm gonna hop into The Husky and His White Cat Shizune Volume 5. Quick summary of that. In general, our main character, Moran, he took over the world as a tyrant. His lover died, and so he killed himself. And then the next time that he woke up, you know, you often wake up after you kill yourself. He was in his 15-year-old body after all of the tragedies and trauma that turned him into a tyrant. And he gets a second chance at life, and he's actually using it to like better not only himself but the world around him, which I think is really interesting. Like, he wants to be a good person, and I love that for him. We're getting into the romance aspect of this, where he's getting back into the relationship with his lover for the second time, and I'm excited to see that. But I'm also like, okay, I'm in book 5, things are going good, and there are 10 books in the series, so I'm scared what's going to happen next. What terrible things. Like, we've already gotten past the traumatic moment that turned him into the tyrant, but there has to be something else, you know? So I'm gonna hop into this, try to read that, and then hop into all of these, and we'll see how far I get in this stack. One of my favorite things about The Husky and His White Cat Shizune as a whole is that it's kind of dark, but it's also not afraid to be silly at the wildest moments. Like, I have read in this series this guy helplessly watching as his wife murders and I think eats their child. It's been a while since I read that, but, you know, helplessly watching as his life falls apart. In the last book, I read not only like just this city, but kind of this whole entire state getting burned to the ground, and the people who were trying to help not having enough room to save everybody that they possibly could, and so having to watch as these people were like begging for help and just having to pass them by as this fire came and destroyed, burned not only everything but every single person that was in its path. You know, some pretty dark topics. And then we have, oh no, you have to help us. The demon gourds of, what was it, debauchery and lust are here. We're powerless against them. One wants you to drink until it runs out of alcohol, and the other wants you to get married. Oh no, the horror. Like, it's so stupid sometimes. Okay, so I have a lot of reading updates for you. Really interesting that I started talking in this video and it started thundering outside. Do I have some sort of thunder powers that I'm not aware of? I have a lot of updates that I need to talk to you about. Like I've said in previous videos, I don't enjoy recording for things when there are other people around, because to me it always makes it seem like I have to make them pause their own lives in order to record for my own thing. I'd rather go around them than them go around me. So I read a lot last night, but I didn't talk to you about it last night. I finished volume 6 of The Husky and His White Cat Shizun. By the way, I've been saying volume 5 this entire time, but when I finished it, realized it was volume 6 actually. I can't count. I don't know what book I'm in. The only thing that I want to say that I didn't talk to you about already, and I've talked about this in previous videos, but this book touched on it a little bit more, and I just find it really interesting how, Mo-Ran, our main character, he used to be a tyrant, and then he died and came back to life and decided to do good things. But one interesting aspect of his character is he doesn't want to be the tyrant, and in fact he's scared of being the tyrant. We're getting into this point in the story where he's realizing that somebody knows that he, maybe not necessarily he used to be a tyrant, but somebody remembers the tyrant. Somebody has come into this new alternate universe of the world with him and is using his teachings, his methods, in order to create some trouble. And now he's having to wrestle with whether or not he wants to do something about it. If he just comes out and explains what the bad guy is doing, people will ask questions on how he knows that, And so he has to decide, is he going to give up his own happiness in order to save hundreds of thousands of lives, the entire world? Or is he going to let all those people die in order to keep his secret and keep the people around him still loving him? And I think that's just a really interesting aspect of his character. I'm definitely really interested in seeing what is going to happen, what he is going to do. I think, from what I know of him, he will end up sort of sacrificing himself for the greater good. But I'm really interested to see, are the other people going to know about how he has been reborn in this new timeline, and what their reactions are going to be, how that is going to influence the main plot. But I have a whole bunch of library books that I need to read, so we won't answer those questions until I'm done with all of these. Last night I read 100 pages of Love Points to You by Alice Lynn. This is my library book I told you about before, where the main character is an artist who needs money. The other character, I'm not sure whether or not she's the love interest or not, but we'll touch on that point a little bit later. The other main character is creating an anime game, or a dating simulator video game, and they are working together. So in these first 100 pages, I will say that this is one of those cases of YA books where I question whether or not I like YA, young adult books, because oftentimes they have main characters who are like, life sucks, I hate everything, everything's going wrong, and truly it's not up to the main character at all. Their lives just suck for absolutely no reason. Our main character here, her dad, it opens up during her dad's marriage. He is getting married to her stepmom, obviously, And she doesn't hate her stepmom, but she's not exactly happy about the wedding. She thinks it's a little gaudy. She doesn't like the dress that they picked out for her. Just kind of like, ugh, life sucks. And then she has to move in with her stepmom and stepsister into their house, but she doesn't get her own room. It is a 3-bedroom house, so like the master bedroom would be for the parents. There is one bedroom that is turned into a practice room for her stepsister's violin lessons, and then there's the bedroom that the 2 teen girls are going to be staying in. So she's a little disappointed about that, but she's like, you know what? It's my stepsister's house. She's allowing me to live in her room. I just have to take that, you know? It's unfortunate, but I can't complain about it. Then while her dad and her stepmom are away on their honeymoon, her new, I guess, step-aunt and step-cousin come over, and her step-cousin breaks her iPad, which she uses to draw and to get money because she wants to get into a certain college away from all of this. And rather than offer to replace it, everybody tells her that sucks, you just have to buy your own iPad. You just have to buy another iPad all by yourself. You go for it. So it's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of angst, and I understand why the main character is upset, but it seems like every single time when I read a YA book, we have all of this unfortunate things happening to our main character for no reason. There's no reason why she should have to share a room with her stepsister. There's no reason why the parents should be focusing more on the stepsister than on her and not giving them equal opportunities. You know, she even says in this, she would understand if her stepsister was trying to go to college for like medicine, to be a doctor or something, but her stepsister is a violinist, and they have, like, she has her own practice room. They pay for a tutor to help her with violin. They really focus, like, every hour of her day is focused on violin, and the main character is like, there is no reason why her art should be considered better than my art. Like, we're both artists. Neither one of us are going to get super high paying jobs and be like something of respect, I guess. And I just find it frustrating that YA books always do this, where there's absolutely no reason for it. Why can we not just have a nice little life for our main character? You know, if this book started with, you know, her iPad getting broken and her family saying, oh, that's really terrible. I'm sorry, we don't have enough money to fix it, but, you know, I understand how rough that would be. And then she goes and she gets the new iPad through the situation here, which I haven't even explained to you. That would make sense. Like, that would still be the story without all this other alternate angst. So that's one problem that I have with this book. Going on with what happens, though. So she's talking to her friend in a public area about how her iPad is dead now and she can't use it. And our other main character, love interest, whatever, overhears and is like, hey, I've seen your artwork before. I like it. I was wondering if you could help me with this video game, and in return, as like a sign-on bonus, I'll buy you a new iPad. And if you end up like not getting the job, you know, because she works with other people, if the other people don't agree or it just doesn't end up working out where you can help us with this video game, you can still keep the iPad. Like, the iPad's yours no matter what. So they start working together on this. Lightning just flashed. Yep. And that's about all that I've gotten to so far. One thing that really confuses me so far in this book is that our main character has explained that she is asexual as like an aro ace sort of thing. She just does not find people attractive in a romantic sense or a sexual sense. And our other main character, the one who's doing the video game work, has also stated that she prefers getting couples together in video games and doesn't really care about real life romance. When I picked this up at the library, I thought that this was going to be a sapphic book. You know, the cover looks like a romance book. The two characters are female, so they both get together, right? I mean, it's called Love Points to You. So I'm confused. I looked it up last night actually because I was so confused. And I've read book reviews that say that they do in fact get together at the end of the book. But they're both aro ace. So I'm interested in seeing how that develops. I mean, they're teenagers. Maybe they're just like, oh, I thought I was. And also, you know, human sexuality and romantic attraction is fluid in general. I feel like everybody's experiences, even as they're older and they're adults, you know, they think one thing and then a few years go by and they're like, actually, I don't think that anymore, you know? So it could just be, especially as they're teenagers and they're in a more tumultuous time in their lives of trying to figure themselves out, that they think that they're aro ace and they're not actually. But I just find it a little bit confusing that we would open up with them talking about how they are not attracted to people. Even like, no matter the gender, they've even stated like, it's people in general. Not sure about that, but anyway, I'm gonna hop into this. I've been talking for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, this video is gonna be so long. I'm gonna hop into this a little bit more. I have about 200 pages left, so we'll see how that goes, and I'll update you when I'm either closer to the end or I've finished it. I do really love the way that this book uses another book, like a fictional book, in order to both have the main character realize her own feelings, but then also like to show similarities between this book and this book, because the main character has a crush on the other girl, like full on, she has a crush. But she's like, no, you know, because I'm not, like, interested in people, and, you know, she has her own reasons for being like, no, it's not a crush, I just really like her, and I like hanging out with her, and I think she's really fun and interesting, and I think about her all the time. And so her best friend takes her to the library and is, like, going through books. They're also really funny because, you know, one thing is the main character is asexual, like on page asexual, but then also I personally think that as she was describing her feelings that she came off as also aromantic, which those two often go hand in hand. But her friend says, you are vanilla, not that there's anything wrong with that, we can't all be into bodice rippers. Sexuality is a spectrum, and sometimes the slow burn romances are more intense than the smut. To which the main character says, Laura, her friend's name, this is a library. And then, you know, they use the book in order to, like, show the main character that you have a crush on her. You have feelings for her. That's why you're thinking about her too much. There's also this line that the main character says that says about the book, I would have given it full marks if it hadn't taken 100 pages of pining for the MC to act on her feelings. Talk about frustrating. And her best friend goes, geez, Linda, imagine how I feel. Like, it's just really cool to have a book where you can so obviously compare the main character to the book that she is reading in order to see, like, now she kind of understands how it feels to read this book. Okay, have I been sitting in the same spot for pretty much the entire day and you're not seeing anything really different camera angles wise? Yes. To be fair, though, if you watch the vlog of how my week is going while I'm here, we've had some wild things pop up today. Listen. But I just finished Love Points to You. Like, literally just now, just finished the final page and immediately turned on my camera. I have mixed feelings about this book, and I think largely those are because I am an adult, believe it or not, and this is a book for teens. You know, I think that if I read this as a teen, I would have really liked it. It reminds me a lot of Bras and Broomsticks by Sarah Mlynowski. Try to say that 5 times fast. I've never messed up her name until now, really. But that was one of my favorite book series, the Magic of Manhattan series in general, when I was in elementary school. And so this reminds me a lot of that, not in like content, but in just the feeling of them and reading them as an adult. They're both stories that are for people younger than me. Actually, they both take place during high school, so are they both YAs? I guess they are. That seems so weird because I read Bras and Broomsticks when I was 9. You know? So I've always been like, it's a kid's book, but no, technically speaking, I guess it is for teenagers. Weird. Anyway, they both have the same issue where the main character is a little too angsty and thinks the world is out to get her, and doesn't quite understand the other people in her life and how, like, they're people as well. But they're both really good regardless of that fact, and I'm sure if I read this when I was younger, I would have really enjoyed this book. As it is now, it still was really good and I enjoyed it. It's just not for me, but if you are in this sort of age range, I would recommend it. I think it's really good. A really good look into having dreams, having goals, and wanting to accomplish them while also, you know, realizing that the people around you are people. They have thoughts and feelings, and especially your family and your friends are trying to help you and make sure that you are getting the best in life, even if it doesn't seem like that to you. I do find that the main character was a little bit mean and put her own thoughts and feelings on other people, like, you should be doing this because I said that you should be doing this, rather than letting people live their own lives. But like I said, I think a lot of that could just be chalked up to the fact that this is a book for teens, and I think if I read this 10 years ago, I would have understood this book and really connected to this book a lot better than I am currently. So yeah, I'm trying to think of when I review this book later, because I've been reviewing the books that I read recently on my website, kidtastic.com, and what star rating I'm going to give it out of 5 stars. I'm somewhere between 3 and 4 stars, but I don't like doing half-star ratings, so I'm like, I think honestly, I'll give it the grace of having 4 stars. There were a couple of moments where I was just kind of like, I'm not really feeling this, but I don't think it deserves 3 stars. I think it's more of like a 4-star read. I did enjoy myself with it. It was really cute. At times I wasn't enjoying myself, but that's just because I'm 10 years older than I should be reading this book. So I'm about to hop into the next book. Do I remember which one it is? Yes, I do, actually. I was going to say no. It's the Ireland Wales? Where are we? Driving, getting into mischief, something about like sheep or something. Book. Also, while I have you here, I forgot to tell you this earlier, but I grabbed a bookmark from the library because I needed a bookmark. I didn't bring one with me. And I thought this one was really cute. It says find your place, and then it has a whole bunch of little icons there. I was like, oh, that's really cute. And then the back it says pick up where you left off, and like some nature stuff. I was like, I really like the aesthetic of this, you know? And it wasn't until I got home and I looked at it a little bit more that it's talking about mental health and substance abuse facilities and therapy. So that's fun. I was just like, no, I really like that a lot. Like, find your place in this world, pick up where you left off. Like, I love the vibes, and I was not expecting the mental health talk. Okay. Okay, so I am 100 pages into whatever this book is called, Off the Map by Trish Dollar. I promise you that I get up off of this couch and do other things occasionally, even though it looks like in this video I've only been sitting on this couch. To be fair, I have spent a lot of time on this couch today, but 100 pages into this, and I'm actually really enjoying myself with this book, which is really surprising because it was one of the two, I think, books that I thought that I wasn't going to like, or that I was going to like the least, but I still wanted to give it a chance and try it. So our main character in this, her name is Carla. She is going to her best friend's wedding in Ireland. And from what I'm reading of this book, I can't see anything at the beginning that says that this is a sequel to a different book. All that it says is that, like, also by the author, and then lists a few books, but it doesn't necessarily say that, like, this book is connected to another book, but it does feel like a sequel, or at the very least a book that is a companion to a different book. We're getting a lot of details on the main character's best friend and her fiance as though we know them, but I don't know anything about them, so that's fun and exciting. Anyway, so Carla is on her way. She's in Ireland, technically speaking, and she meets up with Eamon, who is going to be like taking her to the wedding. He is the best man, she is the maid of honor, so like, you know. Anyway, they have known each other for a whole of like 5 minutes when they kiss, and then decide that like they're gonna go off and do things together. So that's fun and interesting. But they're both like, oh, this is just for fun, like we're not looking to get into a serious relationship, so good for them. While they're on their way to the wedding, they're talking about how Eamon has a whole bunch of plans of things that he wants to do and travel the world, but he's never given himself the chance. And Carla is really big into traveling the world. She's been to like 300, almost 400 different national parks, or just parks in general in the US. So she's like, let's go do some things. So they go to a couple of different places, and they keep like calling their friends, well, her best friend, his brother, and being like, oh, we're gonna be a little late, but we're gonna be there in time for the wedding. I don't think so. I don't think they're gonna see the wedding at all, because they're on their second place. They're checking it out, and believe it or not, according to the cover of the book, they roll the car over and get trapped in the middle of farmland, in the middle of nowhere. Yippee! I'm definitely having a lot of fun with this, and I don't know if I've said before in this specific video, because I'm kind of recording 2 videos at once, but this is only like 257 pages, so I'm sure it's going to be quick, simple. I'm about halfway through it, but so far it's just a really fun read. I'm enjoying myself with it, and I wanted to let you know before I just read the whole thing in one sitting. Okay, update, because I think I'm done crying now. This book broke me. I was legitimately sobbing, crying so hard I couldn't breathe, making these little like whimpering noises when I could breathe because my like just airways were so closed, you know, from how hard I was sobbing. So I already told you about the beginning of this book, which is honestly really cute, and I really liked it a lot. Once we get about halfway into this book, though, we start focusing on the main character and her relationship with her dad, who she doesn't call dad, she calls Biggie, which I think is really cute in general. And one thing that this book does really well is defines the relationship between them and really makes you as a reader care about Biggie. Like, I absolutely, I don't want to say fell in love with him because that has certain connotations, but you know, I like him a lot. Biggie's a really cool guy, really cool character. Unfortunately, throughout this book, he has dementia. He's getting up there in years, and I'll go ahead and spoil what happens closer to the end just for like trigger warnings, because I don't know how to talk about this without just going ahead and talking about it. He dies near the end of this book, and that broke me. I cannot believe. So this book is all about, like, everything on the back of the book talks about our main character Carla going to Ireland and having this cute little adventure with this guy. And like, definitely that is what happened. You can't say that didn't happen. But there was just, like I said, Biggie was just written so well. He was such a good character that I started getting sort of the understanding that it wasn't going to be very long for him, and I didn't even get to his death yet, and I was already sobbing. Like, I knew it was gonna happen. Incredible book. Loved it so much. 5-star read. Like, I would be surprised if I loved any of these books more than I love this book right now. Really good. Liked it a lot. I would recommend picking it up. Apparently it's the 3rd book in the series, too. Not like a series as in you have to read each one right after the other, because I did understand this one without needing to read the first 2. But you know, one of those series where it's like, okay, we have this character, and then we have her sister, and then we have her best friend, and then we have the girl at the sandwich shop that they always go to. You know, I liked it a lot. I really liked Carla's character. I really liked Biggie. Ten out of 10. I'm broken. Okay, it's been barely any time since the last time that I talked to you, but if I'm nosy, you're nosy, and I just picked up How to End a Love Story, so this is the book, as you probably remember, where the main character's family doesn't like the love interest for some reason, says that they will never forgive him, but it doesn't say like what he did, and so I was very intrigued to figure out what's the drama here? What did he do? It's fully detailed in the first 4 pages of the book, so this isn't a spoiler at all or anything, despite the fact that it's the whole reason why I picked it up. The main character's younger sister jumped in front of his car while they were in high school and killed herself. So, that's fun. Wow, what a great way to start a book. So I haven't gotten that much farther into it than that, though I will say I'm on page 16. I was reading for a little bit while I was waiting for my camera to charge. And the main character of this wrote a book that I can't remember the name of the like real life series, Pretty Little Liars. It's basically Pretty Little Liars. I've never read Pretty Little Liars. I've never watched the TV show, but even I heard the description of this fictional book in this book and went, okay, so it's Pretty Little Liars. So she wrote Pretty Little Liars, basically, and it is getting adapted into a TV show. The guy, Grant, is a screenwriter, so he's like in charge of writing the script for the TV show, and now they have to work together to create this TV show make sure that it's good for the fans and the fans are going to enjoy it. While meanwhile, her and her entire family are kind of mad at him for killing her younger sister, even though, like, it's very obvious even from the first 4 pages that it was not his fault at all. Like, hold on, there's literally part of it where I was like, okay, so he had nothing to do with it besides being the driver of the car. It says there were enough eyewitnesses to suggest 16-year-old Michelle darted in front of 18-year-old Grant's SUV shortly after 2 a.m. last Friday on purpose. There were enough I'm paraphrasing a little bit. There were enough key search terms in Michelle's internet history to confirm it. In the most humiliating blow to their parents, there was enough in the toxicology report to warrant the phrase troubled youth in the local news coverage about Michelle, not Grant. So basically, like, he had nothing to do with it. He was just the unfortunate guy who was driving his own car when this girl jumped in front. So, my whole question of what happened and the whole reason why I wanted to pick up this book is already answered, but I'm interested in seeing what goes on still. Right now I have a headache from crying so hard. It's currently about 11:30 p.m. I need to change the background of my phone. I just thought about it. Because there's a new event in the game, and I want it as the background of my phone. And I haven't eaten dinner yet, so perhaps I'll go do that. Maybe it will help my headache. And then read a little bit more, maybe. I'm kind of tired, but also, I cried my eyeballs out, so understandable. But I read 2 whole books today. 2 whole books in one day. I'm a scholar. I'm learned. So I am on track for reading all 8 of these books in 4 days. Okay, so I ended up actually just skimming through how to end a love story rather than actually reading it, because I came to the realization about 50 pages in, I don't actually want to read this book. I'm just nosy and want to know the drama of what happens, So I don't think that I will write a review for this or put it on my Goodreads as though I've read it or whatever. But I will tell you some little details about the story. So as we said before, the main character's younger sister was killed, I guess, or I guess the better description would be decided to commit suicide by running in front of somebody else's car. That somebody else being the love interest in this book. 13 years later, I think it was, the main character and the love interest are working together on a TV show adaptation of the main character's book that she wrote. And they end up, for some reason, having feelings for each other and wanting to be together. Now that I'm thinking about it, I never really read any particular reason why he was interested in her. There were little bits here and there about how he was really focused on the main character, wanted to talk to her after her sister's death, and not became obsessed with her in a weird way, but just became obsessed with wanting to talk to her because she was the only person who went through this as well as he did, he says at one point he doesn't have any siblings, so it's not like he can talk to a brother or a sister or whatever and say his thoughts and feelings and just kind of decompress after the accident. And she's sort of in the same boat where, at the very least she had a sibling, but she doesn't anymore, and so he questions does she have anybody to talk to after this? And it, like I said, it's not really an obsession as in a bad thing, but he's definitely been thinking about the main character for the 13 years since her sister's death. How she's doing, basically. So, anyway, they are working on this show together. They slowly start to do some things together. One really interesting part of this that I was really enjoying, just for the character not necessarily development, but just the characterization in general was that the love interest has panic attacks because of the accident. There's this one scene where there was an accident. He had nothing to do with it. There was just, an accident on the side of the road. And by the time he got back into work that day, he was in the middle of a panic attack. He was a whole mess. And it was solely because, like he says, like it's just for a stupid reason. He has no reason to be having a panic attack. Just he saw an accident on the side of the road and saw that there was a body with a sheet over it and just went into this panic attack over it. And I think that's such an interesting part of his character and such a good way of showing how the accident with the main character's younger sister affected him, and how like he didn't just get to walk away from that without anything happening to him. For the main character, she lost her younger sister. Her entire life has been changed because of this instance. And how, like, for him, he didn't just get to walk away and continue his life after that. His life has been forever changed by this accident. Another thing that I found interesting about this book and I wanted to see was the parents' reaction, because it says on the back that they have never forgiven him. And so the question is, are they ever going to forgive him? And from what I skimmed, it doesn't really look like they ever do. They ever want anything to do with him. But they do accept, not necessarily accept, more like they're just completely over it. They're like, fine, main character, do whatever the hell you want, because obviously you're not listening to us when we say that this is a bad man. Which I thought was also just an interesting take on this. Just in general, I just wanted to know what the parents' reaction would be and if they'd ever get over this. And I guess it's kind of spoilers to say, but they don't. They never get over it, even though the main character has and understands that it was not the love interest's fault. So definitely an interesting story, but I just came to the point, like I said, where I was reading this and I was like, I don't actually care to read the book. I'm just nosy and I want to know the drama of what happens. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to skim. I don't want to sit here for hours and hours and read every single word on the page. I'm just going to skim and see what happens. So, somewhat unfortunate, but I don't want to say this next thing that popped into my brain, but I don't know another way to make it sound better. The sentence was going to be somewhat unfortunate, but I just don't care enough. So. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours since the last time that I picked up a book. I know, shocking considering I have so many to read this week. Yeah, this is a good time for you to start playing with your toys. That's fine. I just started The Geographer's Map to Romance by India Holton. Haven't read too much. I don't want to play with you right now. I'm trying to record a video. I've read a single page, and I am already struck with... That's unfortunate, because this book is steampunk. Doesn't really look like it on the cover. There's no steampunk aspects that I would say. The back doesn't say anything about steampunk. Just double checking. Yeah. The back doesn't say anything about steampunk. The front doesn't give me steampunk vibes, though maybe for you it does. I don't know. The problem with this is I hate steampunk. I cannot stand it, the aesthetic, the genre, anything about it. I hate it. Controversial opinion. It's like the one aesthetic that I cannot stand. I just don't like historical stories where we decide, you know what? Let's make some crazy wild contraptions and have them run off of steam. I just don't like it. And so this being a book set in a steampunk world, I'm like, are we for serious right now? Did we have to include steampunk elements? I'm still gonna at least try with it and read it and see how it goes, because I was really excited. Like I said, this reminds me a lot of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I love Emily Wilde. I really want to enjoy another book like I enjoy that series. But I'm very upset about the steampunk. Hi, sorry, it's me again, your favorite neighborhood reader. I was gonna say something else. I was gonna say your friendly neighborhood reader. I don't know why I said favorite. Anyway, I'm on page 11 now. Wanted to read this to you because the gasp, I just gasped. So they just got married. Marriage of convenience, as it says on the back that they have a marriage of convenience, because he wants to move out of his apartment because his upstairs neighbors are really loud. But the only place that's nearby that seems like a good fit for him only allows married people to rent. And she makes up some reason, like she has a crush on him. But she makes up this reason that all of the other people in her department, she's a geographer, don't think that she's good enough, don't trust her because she's an unmarried woman. Like, ooh, misogyny, you know? So anyway, they got married. Then I had to read, her heartbeat turned to stars, and her brain dissolved into a golden haze of pleasure, from which she only grudgingly emerged some 2 days later, in Gabriel's flat, in Gabriel's bed, the marriage having been consummated to a degree that did not just meet, but delightfully exceeded, legal requirements. They were, after all, two people who liked to be very thorough in what they did. Are we sure it's for convenience? Like, they kissed during the wedding, even though supposedly they didn't need to. And I was like, that makes sense, because they're getting married, you know? You want to make it look official. You did not, technically speaking, have to consummate the marriage. But thanks for that. Update, it gets worse. Same page 11. They've gotten married, they've gone through with all of it. They go to the landlady and she says, oh, I've already rented the place. And they're like, what? She's like, yeah, I rented it to this guy. And the love interest guy knows him and is like, that guy? He's a bachelor. He's not married. You only rent this place to bachelors. And she says, and I quote, oh, she winks, by the way, at the main character. She winks at the main character, the female main character, and says, yes, well, he's going to supplement the rent with free massages for my nervous condition. He has a special vibratory device. Girl, oh my god. Chapter 2, page 17 has come with it a very important detail to this story, and that is, while in chapter 1 we talked about how the main character had a crush on her husband. Her husband has a crush on the main character. They're married, they have a crush on each other, and neither one knows. Ah! And now, a dramatic reading of The Geographer's Map to Romance by India Holton. Page 61. We need to work as... What is that? What is what? He asked with unconcealed exasperation. Slowly, Elodie raised a hand, pointing behind him. That. Gabriel glanced back, and his expression unraveled. Good Lord, what the hell is that? Ah! It is day 4 of me being here, and I did not read a single word yesterday of any book ever. I'm still at the same point in the Geographer's Map to romance. I keep wanting to say guide to romance as I have been the last time we talked. Listen, I am really enjoying this book, right? I feel like you know by the amount that I've talked about it in this video. I've been really enjoying it, but There is something to be said about trying to do a challenge where you're reading 9 books in 4 days. A little bit too much. I feel like it's almost depressing in a way, forcing yourself to read that much. Like the first day when I did it and I was on track, I had read all day. I did not do anything else but read for the entire day. And it felt like my day was just wasted in a way. Even though I was getting done the things that I needed to get done, I wasn't able to do anything else. It was just like the day passed by and I didn't do anything, which is a really interesting thing to say, like, especially for overworking yourself. Because, like, imagine if I was talking about a job, a 9 to 5, and I have a lot of stuff to do. I'm really focused on that, really stressed to get all this done, and then it feels like the day is wasting away because I've focused so much of my energy on that I don't have enough energy for the rest of the tasks that I want to do. And even like saying that, the first day I had to deal with some stuff IRL in my other like weekly vlog thing. I talked about it a little bit. There was a situation that I had to figure out, and I spent a good chunk of the day doing that as well. But still, when I look back on that first day, I'm like, I read all day and I was miserable. I hated it. I didn't hate the books. You know, they were good books. I enjoyed myself with them. But the feeling of sitting around and reading a book, like constantly needing to pick it up and not being able to do anything else, is miserable. And that's really not something that I expected to feel out of this video. But today is the last day for this video. I'm gonna see if I read any more, but I'm not currently feeling like it, and I want to chase the moods I've been on recently, I guess. If I don't feel like picking up a book, then I don't want to force myself, because we just talked about all that. And so we will see. I'm definitely really enjoying this book, and I need to see, just in case I don't finish it today, whether or not I can get it either at my library or on Libby, or if I have to, I'll buy it on Kindle, you know, just like something so that I can finish this, because I am really enjoying it. That is all for later. For right now, like I literally just woke up. I need breakfast. And then I'm gonna do some other hobbies that I've been really into, which again, you can see in my more personal weekly vlog thing that I'm doing at the same time. I'm gonna do some other things. If I feel like I wanna pick up a book, I will. If I don't feel like it, I'm not gonna worry about it. We'll just say that. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and just end this video here. I did read a little bit more today, but it was only like 4 pages, I think. I just really was not feeling it. Like I said in the last clip, I think that just the point of like needing to read and sort of forcing myself into reading 2 books a day, and just how depressing it was, I guess, where I couldn't do anything else. It was sit on the couch and read because you have to finish all of these books. I think that really messed with my reading experience, my reading ability, I guess, and made it so that I could have probably potentially read a couple more books during this time, at least finished this one, and then maybe finished another one. But I think because of my experiences of those first 2 days of like constantly feeling like I need to be reading, that really diminished the quality of my reading on these last couple of days. At the very least, there's a lesson in this. Do not overexert yourself. Don't force yourself to do a challenge like this knowing that it's going to be kind of close. Like I said in the beginning, like I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to finish all 9 of these books in 4 days, but I'm at least going to try. And they crashed and burned a little bit, and now not only do I know, but you know as well through watching this. The other books that I have in the pile I will get to eventually. Like I said, I am still interested in reading them, and I will try to see if my local library has them, or Libby, or maybe picking them up on my Kindle. So it's not the last you'll hear from these books, but it's going to be the last for now. So thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one that comes out on my channel.